Hello, everyone. This is GT Time, and I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman. And joining us, as always, is our uniquely talented and knowledgeable panel, including Brandon Jones.
Hello.
Daniel Bloodworth.
Hi.
Bradley Ellis in the super seat this week.
Hey, everybody.
And making this all happen is Ian Hink.
Hi.
There it is. I like that sort of enthusiasm. How are we all feeling today?
Excellent.
We have
Excellent.
Excellent. We
I
have
actually had a hard time
to each other.
getting out of bed this morning, but I'm fine now. I'm full of energy.
Bad before, good now.
I think it's just being around, being able to talk to people, get energy.
We have a jam-packed episode this week. I'm so excited to get into it. But of course, first, we have a super seat question, the first of the new round. Brad Ellis, can you please tell us about a project you worked on in high school that you are still proud of?
Well, I'm not like super proud of it, but
None of us are super proud of anything.
In art, I painted some flowers, and they got like an award.
No,
Put it
what
up in the
award did
office.
you get?
I don't know.
Yes,
I
you
don't
do.
remember.
What
It
award-
was
what's
like
the
10
award?
years ago. I don't remember.
So no, hold on. Like, what's the award though? Like, it was like this is the best painting of flowers in the entire school.
I don't know about the entire school, but
Was it a class award or like a school award?
I think it was a school award.
Did they give it out at the end of the school year?
No.
Oh, okay.
You had the best painting of flowers of anyone in the
I
entire
don't
school.
know, I guess.
Own it, man.
Yeah, like what? That's
Well,
cool.
whenever I would draw something, I would think it's not very good, but then my teacher would, or like they would like it.
I think you can weigh his pride on whether or not you still are in possession of this picture.
Yeah, where's the painting?
We still have it, yeah.
Boom.
My parents have
Is
it
it up
hung
on a wall?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
that's
pride.
so cool. That's,
Dude, that's
cool.
the thing, because one of my favorite ones, like a guy actually came and bought it. So it's like, well, okay. I didn't think it was that good.
I have some blood art on my wall.
Blood-
Usurped.
Yeah, did you just try to ruin Brad's story?
No, it just
Yeah,
reminded
you're
me
like,
of my
"Well,
story.
I had someone buy something
Brad-
from me.
Blood's like, I was a professional high
I
school
wasn't.
flower
Cool.
painting drawer thing.
Well, none of us were professional in high school, so
No.
Blood
I'll give it
was.
to
He
Blood.
got money.
right.
Yeah, Blood was a paid
So,
professional
so
high
someone
school.
purchased that while you were in high school?
Yes.
Oh, well, then never mind.
Yeah.
They invested in, they thought would be a future that never happened, I guess.
Wow, I would
Just
love
like
to see
all
that.
of us.
I tried to sell drawings I made at the local store at school in elementary school. I went to an official at the school and was like, "So do you sell art and stuff? Because I drew some this cool picture of Freddy Krueger. Can I sell that?" And they're like,
So cocky.
no."
We had an underground ring of creepy crawlies that we would sell. Remember those
Those are creepy
oven for
crawlers.
boards?
Creepy crawlers.
Yeah.
We would sell creepy crawlers on underground and tell them power that be shut us down.
That's very
The
funny.
creepy crawly also, your lighting in there looks kind of
Yeah, I'm
haunted
playing
house.
it. I'm playing it dark too.
That looks very
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so let's do our corrections. Please begin corrections music. Mad world.
Yeah, you nailed it.
4 mads.
Good job, Kyle.
I nailed it on my first try
I was
last
completely
week.
wrong.
Yeah,
you were right.
you and Ian pointing
won.
like, we know movies. No, I had it.
Yep.
I had mad. That's 4
I
mads.
didn't say anything about the number of mads.
You actually
'cause I
did.
myself had no idea.
Check the tape. You do.
Check the
I
tape.
do?
Yeah.
I say I might have offered a theory.
However, there are 6 mads in Mad Men. That show on TV.
We're getting off
I
track.
believe that's what that's called.
Okay, I'm so happy that
With
anyone
Todd
is willing to do
Ham?
bits. If anyone's Todd Ham.
With 6 M's.
Game. I'm so delighted right now
Yeah, calm down, Kyle.
that anyone is willing to do jokes on GT time. I'm touched.
It happened.
So
It
touched.
finally happened.
Oh, wow.
Wow, okay, I feel good. GameStop's web and store purchases, we made fun of those last week. They can send it to your home. And so, if you want to go, you can't, trade in games to Amazon, you know what I mean? Maybe you can. I don't. Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Okay, just listen. If you use the web and store purchases at GameStop, they can send it straight to your home or office. GameStop, power to the players. Here's a comment or a correction that I freaking love.
Sounded like an
Dude.
ad so much.
Do you really want those people to know where you live, though? That's the question.
Those people, yeah,
GameStop?
GameStop's cool, bro.
Bad news.
No, they're all cool. I would love if they came to visit me at my house. This is from Controller in Hand. I love this kind of thing. All right, Kyle, you asked if the cancellation of a tournament this size has ever happened before. Oh, because of the Halo Master Chief Collection one. Boy, oh boy, it did. The 2004 CyberX Games Counter-Strike tourney was canceled due to Steam connectivity issues. Steam being in its infancy, maybe a year old, the competitors were having a lot of issues with the Steam authentication service to play LAN games. This was a massive failure due to the fact that this competition in Las Vegas, with something like 50 teams flying out from as far away as Europe. From my little bit of research I've done, the 159,000 prize pool was donated. Also, the highly reliable source, that is my brother David, said all the physical prizes were raffled off to attendees. It's easy to forget, like, Steam sucked when it launched.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It was very ambitious, yeah.
I freaking love that. Thank you, Controller in Hand, for such an in-depth correction. Some people are just like, you're still getting Lego wrong. It's like, no. No. Okay. End corrections music. Let's move on. Oh, we have so many game announcements. You know, I love to start a show with a game announcement. We're like, it's going to be half the show this week. Starting with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, officially announced this week. Oh, boy.
I saw they had screenshots. I didn't see the screenshots, but...
Then, Blood, you know what? We're going to start this segment with a little game.
Okay.
I'm going to show you 2 screenshots.
Okay.
I'm going to ask for you to tell me which is from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 and which is from the HD remake of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater released 2 years ago.
I feel like they've done way more than 5, so it's kind of confusing.
All right, Blood, which of these 2 screenshots is new and which one is from the last gen HD remake?
The one on the right is the new one?
Yes.
He called you
Oh.
on your game.
I know that right after I said that, I saw the Game Informer black.
I tried so hard. God. The fact is, dude, if you're listening, we're looking at 2 screenshots right now. The new next gen, 8th gen version of this game looks worse than the HD remake of...
Is that Tony too in the picture?
Well, I mean,
That's
I noticed
Tony. Yeah,
like
he's-
the texture in the front of this
Well,
shot.
he's totally got like
Tony,
mannequin
not
face.
great.
He's just like, he's literally like, the board is off of his feet. He's totally suspended in midair. Like,
Yes.
he's right in that moment where you
Yeah.
just want to have, it looks like he's totally going to go out of control, but he's actually going to land it, and he's actually going to do a perfect trick, and he's just like,
Weren't those made by the same company too?
Yes, so
They tossed it over.
this company is Robomoto, the developers of Tony
it's
Hawk's
like a
Pro
guy
Skater
wearing
5.
a Tony Hawk mask.
Robomoto made the two
creepy.
plastic skateboard games are from Robomoto, Ride and Shred, and also
Best in the series.
like a bunch of mobile games.
Yeah, but I guess that was one of the things that really, aside from that texture work at the front of that, just the fact that they had Tony Hawk on that shot, I thought was probably the giveaway.
Oh my gosh, I should have
Because
played
it's like,
this game
who's
better.
this guy? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of who's this guys. The other guy is like Bloodworth. Bloodworth is in this game. Look, there you are.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is probably a real skater as well. But
So here's the thing. I want to be excited about this game. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. That is a title that speaks to me. When it looks like this, is it hard to be excited?
You haven't played it yet, and I think that's the big.
It looks like that.
When it
You're right.
looks like
When it
that.
looks like this, this is out. That's
Yeah, we don't know how it plays. I mean, and if it plays the same, that could possibly be a negative because it's been so long that like it'd be nice if they do something to upgrade the systems in the game. And if it's just not fun, if it's just not, it's kind of like what Guitar Hero and Rock Band's up against. You know, like is this still fun? Is this still fun enough to like play like a lot more than one night of this?
So that's a fair question. One of the things they've announced is projectiles. They'll have projectiles in the game. Another
What?
thing, though.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
what does that mean?
So you can throw things while
You
you're
can throw
skating
things
around,
while you're
No.
skating. Yeah.
which they've had before.
Throw things at what?
I don't like that.
You know, people in the street.
Yeah, probably like
So
losers.
they
targets.
are gonna have like
People
that's
in the
what
street.
because from this shot I wasn't from just this shot and that shot I guess it wasn't clear to me that you were even gonna be doing that open world thing that they because they're going back to 5 or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the design of this is gonna feel like.
There will be a leveling up system, one that carries over between when you play online to when you play single player. You'll be leveling up,
Huh.
Okay.
which I think Tony Hawk always had. That you would level up, kind of.
Yeah, you'd put stats.
You would get stats. You wouldn't be like Tony Hawk level 21, but you would get stat boosts. Yeah. So I mean, yeah.
What level do you figure real life Tony Hawk is at right now?
I think in real life the sad fact is you lose levels as you get older.
What's the level cap?
Whoa.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
cap
I
at
think-
like 35 and then you start losing levels.
Yeah.
Not age necessarily, but
Right. I gotta say Tony Hawk's down a few levels from where he was when we saw Tony Hawk 4.
Well, he's getting old, man.
Yeah,
His
I mean that's
caterer
He's
just
sure
still
is.
doing well.
That's-
but he's an old man now.
it's part of our sad life.
well, you probably like if you use D&D or whatever, your whiz keeps going up You know, while your strength and dex might go down,
wisdom.
your wisdom and intelligence might go up.
His wisdom's up for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
It did take me a while to figure out what whiz was. So,
Right.
yeah.
We're noobs. That means we're noobs. We should know.
No,
our-
I mean now, yeah.
It's that
Once he got
Fred
there.
Savage movie. You ever saw it with the
It's
kid?
just
in Super Mario
shorter.
Bros.
One last question I want to ask you all about this game. Wario64 pointed this out, that it was listed for $60 as an 8th gen game, $40 for a 7th gen game. Shay, are we at the point? So we'll get to this later. EA announced its sales of its annual reports. 80% is on current gen 8th gen consoles. Should we officially just call 7th gen last gen at this point?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've
Okay.
been doing
been
that
As
for
soon
a
as
year.
the new
Yeah.
ones came out, yes.
From my memory, I think we all unanimously agreed to do 7th and 8th gen.
I wasn't part of
Never,
Yeah, I
ever
made the
liked those stupid numbers.
I made the proposal, and you said, Kyle, that's a really good idea. is
When
how
you
I
enter a
remember it.
gen and then the year changes, it's the gen.
Cool.
That's you're
All right. So anyway, only 20% of games are happening on last gen consoles at this point already. 2 years after the it's a year and a half, I guess we'll call this.
Yeah, I mean, Sony said 22 point something million PS4s now. That's
yeah.
pretty. That's huge.
That's huge.
That's the install base. Yeah.
All right,
This
so-
is your active users.
360, PS3, Wii, your last gen officially. Anyway, this is a $40 game on last gen, 60 on current gen.
Why?
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 Why bother? Why bother?
To me, it makes the game seem cheaper to have that out there.
Just have it on 40 on both. It looks like a $40 game from this picture.
It does look like a 40.
Look at that.
You know what? What would have a huge impact is Tony Hawk screaming midair.
Like facial capture.
Yes. If he was screaming, I'd be so into that screenshot. Instead, that screenshot gives me dread.
In fear or in like, yeah?
Yeah, just like mouth wide open.
Yeah, I
just
mean,
yeah.
he looks like he's like there's a necromancer that has brought back a dead Tony Hawk to continue skating.
Well said.
That's pretty close.
Look at that. We gotta move on. That's perfect blood.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. No, it's interesting because this year a lot of franchises are coming back, and I have to ask, like, why are you coming back now? Like, why is this year the year?
Like Rock
and like
Band
in
and
that,
Guitar
yeah, and like
Hero.
Rock
Yeah.
Band's first video, they were like, it just felt like time.
Yeah.
Like, you go into more detail of like actually why this is the year, and like that's the thing that I haven't really seen from this announcement is like why now? Why Tony Hawk 5?
great point.
Why is
I'll
it
kinda-
continuing for like? And so when you do the 60-40 split, it basically sets up, like, that would make sense to me for games that they're like, this is the exact same game. Literally, you're not getting anything else at all on the PS4 and Xbox One versions other than it looks a little bit better.
Yeah.
I wonder if the last gen versions don't have as much online features, or maybe not even any online features,
That could be the differentiator, maybe.
because that's a lot of that's investment, and if you're basically selling it as a bargain bin game.
Yeah.
On those the versions, they might not support it as much.
They
We can talk about Disney Infinity now.
They should not do last gen. Charge $80.
Yeah, just listen to Ian. So another franchise where it's like, why are you coming back now?
Yeah, I know.
Why
Yeah,
are you
really.
coming back?
But
Disney Infinity 3.0.
Totally unexpected.
No, Blood, we got too many games to talk about. We got to cut off
But I
the
do
Tony
have
Hawk talk.
the coming back thing though.
What?
I mean, I think it's just like it's like this numbers game of accountants of like, okay, they can't play the old games and buy the old games anymore, but we have to wait until the install base actually justifies it. So it's like this is the time just because critical mass
Like
kind of
you
thing.
choose a price there for a reason. Yeah, I think it's probably just the wrong decision. Anyway, let's just talk about Disney Infinity 3.0.
Okay.
All we see here are Star Wars characters. Very clearly, this is going to be. Actually, I think we have a Fist of Ultron to the far left there. But generally, it's a Star Wars game. Is that correct, Brandon?
Yes.
Okay.
Brandon's already talked about this for
They've
an hour.
shown lots of characters, and they've said there's going to be lots of other characters, and every second of gameplay they've shown has all been from Star Wars. So, yeah.
Is that a
Star
good
Wars.
idea? Is that a good idea for Disney Infinity again,
Yeah.
where it's like, hey, you have everything in
Yeah, I think it's smart for all of their things to have a theme, to have like one central driving thing that they're like, this is what's going to be, this is what this whole thing is going to be about, and then everyone else is going to show up and play around in it too and have a good time. But it's going to be, like 4.0 is going to be Muppets or Indie or whatever,
Yeah. You know what I was just thinking about? I think on the drive over. So how much does the starter pack cost of Disney Infinity 3.0?
Previously $70 or $75, and the new one's going to be $65.
So 65, I think that is huge. So they
yeah.
knocked off one figure. You only get two with it now.
Right.
But we talked a lot in the past about how we talked about Lego, and how that's doing toys to life. And it's like, oh, how's Disney Infinity going to compete? How's Skylanders going to compete? Just being the cheapest is genius. going to 65 and just saying, hey, this just costs $5 more than a regular game.
Lego's 99.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's like a deal breaker for a lot of people, probably.
Exactly. Yeah, I think
that's crazy.
I think that's the huge play, and we never even discussed it. Is hey, price, just make it cheaper. And I think that's actually a really good idea for
Not
Disney
to mention
Infinity
that these figures are like really high quality.
Yeah, I think Disney Infinity are the best.
And they've actually done a lot of cool things in 2.0 that they weren't doing with 1.0, which they were like breaking figures out of play sets. So if you're like, I really want Aladdin, but I don't want Jasmine, or I need to replace Jessie, but I don't want to buy the play set again, and so like they, after several months, release the figures on their own. So they're getting better at it. The little discs aren't in blind packs anymore, which I think is massive. That's go in there like baseball cards and just buy like
that's
hundreds
nice
of them.
to the end user, maybe not the most fiscally like good for them.
I potentially disagree, because I think what they might have seen is that maybe like the demand for the 2.0 lessened a lot. They had like phases of the 1.0. It's like here's 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and then 2.0 they were like, nope, here's all of them right now. And then like very specifically they were like, here's this pack which comes with 2 extra and then these other things. And so I think with 3 they're like, if we just say everybody can get all of them, maybe everyone will. Like
I guess that's a really good point, because like for Netrunner, I'll go out, the packs aren't blind, it's in it. So I'll go out to buy one specific card. I'll buy a $14 pack.
Or online.
Whereas if they were all blind, I wouldn't buy any of them.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want to have to sift through it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little sneak-a-do. I think that's one of those things that they're like, for you fans, and it's like, wait, no. I think you were checking the numbers.
Brandon, do you think that, looking at what you see here, will there be more Star Wars characters announced for this, or is this pretty much it?
Oh, yeah. Well, we don't see R2-D2 and C-3PO in that shot. Duh, they're going to be in it. They've already announced there's going to be Episode 7 stuff. They haven't shown them yet.
Yeah, but
General Grievous is teased in one. Cad Bane, who's from the Rebels show, is in one quick shot doing a flyby.
I think there's a limit, though, to how many figures you can create, and this isn't announced
corrections
yet.
music. I think he was Clone Wars. Sorry, continue.
Nice. Good autocorrect. It was leaked about all the characters from Inside
Out?
Yeah,
Right.
Inside Out. Like, that's another 5 characters, Brandon.
Right.
You can only make so many figures. There's a limit.
Can you?
No, there's no limit.
Yeah, I don't see why.
called
There's a limit.
Infinity.
We're going to talk about limits with the Disney company right now.
Sure, you're right. That's on me.
I think they're going to go. I think it's going to be more. There were more 2.0 figures in 1.0, and I think we're going to see that again with 3.0.
Yeah, how many freaking amiibo have we seen in 8 months? Disney can do however many they want.
In real life, 4.
Where they're doing an Age of Ultron play set, so like Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver figures, I bet, are likely.
No way. Nobody likes them.
They had you had Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Everybody liked Yondu because Yondu's cool. I don't know.
Who the hell's Yondu?
He's the blue guy who like
the
whistles.
arrows.
He has the stick.
The Walking Dead guy, right?
Is that Walking Dead guy?
He's from
He's
Walking
in Walking Dead.
Okay.
He's
Well, he was.
more worthwhile in spoilers, blood. Not that show matters.
Oh, it was years ago. It was years ago.
Show sucks.
That's good.
I do want
good
to. I have to say, this is very exciting. Sometimes moments in video games make me excited for everything. They're just like, hey, this is working out. Here's what we got. We got a game called Yooka-Laylee.
Yes.
Pops up on Kickstarter, is funded almost immediately. And so what this game is, it's a 3D platformer. They're calling it a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie. They're not being shy about that because the development team is almost completely former Rare employees. And so they just said, hey, we're making a game that's like Banjo-Kazooie. Just get funded immediately. Just like 40 minutes, boom. I think it was the fastest video game to ever get to 1 million on Kickstarter. Just people throwing money at Yooka-Laylee. Why?
People are hungry for 3D platformers. People have been wanting it for years, especially from like Rare. People wanted Banjo-Kazooie, but they got nuts and bolts. No one wanted that. People want like a real deal 3D platform because there's none really anymore that are good. And people voted with their wallet. It's clear. People want this.
Why do you think, Brad, that publishers thought we didn't want this?
I don't know. There's probably like way too many at one point in time, and they just started selling less and less and less, just kind of like with rhythm games or whatever.
I think starting that new brand is terrifying. They're like, none of these old brands that we have, that used to were like previous platforming franchises are popular enough now to warrant another sequel. And if we started fresh with a whole new thing, that's why all platformers are like 8-bit, independent, action-based, but to have like a pure exploratory 3D,
What I love to see,
like very vertical, like.
yeah, what I love to see about the reaction here is that it is a new IP and people have already embraced it and do fan art. Like having fan art of your new IP, I think is huge. Do you know what I mean? Like that means, hey, we're already something that people are attached to. I think there's probably more fan art now of Yooka-Laylee than there is of fan art of the blocky versions of Banjo-Kazooie.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Like that interpretation of them. I bet more people are already endeared to these two than like the square version of Banjo.
Do we?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask. Do you know if it was a rights thing that they like couldn't do another Banjo-Kazooie? Because I wonder if they had the opportunity to do another Banjo-Kazooie, if they would have, or if this like harkens in the dawn of a new age where we're done with reboots because they thought doing a new IP might be better.
So Ian, that's a good question. I have a theory. I think that we're about to see new Banjo-Kazooie announced from Microsoft this year. So Microsoft still owns
probably.
Banjo-Kazooie.
I'm sure that's the case. Yeah.
I think there's a 95% chance of Battletoads and like 65% chance of Banjo-Kazooie. 12% of Perfect Dark. I'm almost sure these announcements are coming.
Well, you remember the last time they announced Banjo-Kazooie? It was years. It's kind of funny because
Oh, they kind of teased it.
yeah,
Right.
Because it's kind of reminiscent of the what we saw with Phantom Dust. It was like, oh, they teased this thing that had this horror story of an actual development.
Right.
But I mean, that's basically what happened with Nuts and Bolts. Is like they teased Banjo-Kazooie. They probably hadn't started working on it or had not done much on it yet, and then they realized that whoever was left at Rare couldn't make that game good, and so they made Nuts and Bolts instead.
No, I don't think. Ouch, blood. I don't think
Because
that's
that was
what
like
that
they were
was.
saying there's like, oh, we wanted to do something different. We didn't want to do the same thing over again. And like,
Yeah.
well, these guys are the guys that did it, and they're obviously doing the same thing. So
I don't think it was like, hey, this won't be good. Let's make something different because we can't make a good game. You know what I mean?
I think
do
it
believe-
was. I think they were testing this thing out.
I think it's just a bad idea. Some idiot's like, "Ooh, let's put vehicles in the game. That'll make platforming fun."
Right, but I mean, so
You're gonna meet that idiot at a party someday.
I'm going
just
to.
prepping you for it.
Good.
Be like, oh, Brad Ellis.
yeah, Brad's very aggressive at parties. It's fine.
I like what Ian has to say though, because it's interesting. You brought up Perfect Dark. It's a perfect example. Like they were like, oh, here's our next big game, and then they're like, oh, cool, you're gonna do Tomorrow Never Dies, and they're like, no, there's no time. That movie comes out in like a couple months. And they're like, we really want to take our time with the next game. Let's not do a Bond thing. Let's make our own franchise. Let's make something that we totally control. That we're not like. I mean, they were in that position to think of like, oh, how do we warrant another Banjo-Kazooie coming out? And it's like, just do that and make it new. But like that didn't sound good on paper. So they had this whole vehicle building mechanic. Where with this, they're like, what could we do if we actually weren't stuck with a bear and a bird? If we could actually be like, who would we want? We'd want like, I bet that guy can swing on his tail and climb up stuff, and then like the bat can fly around, just like Kazooie did.
Sonar.
So yeah, I
Sonar's
just think that's way more exciting. It's like when you see, big heads of companies go to smaller companies because they're like, I want to build something. I want to totally be in charge. And
I bet
Okay.
they wanted to own
Get
this
something off the
IP
ground.
also.
very rarely do I get such a perfect transition.
there you go. Just for you.
Brandon, you freaking killed it, dude.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Epic guy going to Unity, but okay.
This is huger. This is another thing that makes me so excited. This is Igavania. I think that's in the URL. I don't think I made that up. So what happened here? Koji Igarashi, he's been in charge of Castlevania from like Game Boy Advance forward. Worked on Symphony of the Night, but like wasn't producer of it. I think he was like co-director, assistant director of that game. But anyway, he's been like the person spearheading it, and then left Konami in 2014. Most likely because he was just frustrated about what he was seeing going on with Castlevania.
Well,
he loves Castlevania.
You know that they had to basically compete against these foreign companies.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, we at TGS watched Iga reveal a new Castlevania game, and then Konami greenlighted Lords of Shadow instead, which was made in Spain.
Blood, you're dropping something I've not heard
Whoa.
before. What is going on here? What year is this? This is probably...
I wish I knew the year.
It's probably like 2011.
But you can probably Google and find the clip that we put up. Because like we filmed it. They had a stage presentation. They showed this teaser of the next Castlevania game.
Uh-huh.
And then it never happened, and we got Lords of Shadow instead.
What
and
do
then
you-
Lords of Shadow was first
It was
revealed
2D sprite-based?
as not Castlevania. It
Right.
was something else. But it wasn't 2D sprite based. It looked like it was going to be 3D, but it was just a brief teaser.
I bet his heart was broken then. I bet he left because his heart was broken.
Yeah.
It's
This
probably
one's 2D though, right?
This
Yes.
is most likely 2D.
it's probably because he worked on the two
Yes.
3D games on PS2, and they were just okay. Those Castlevania games, Konami's probably like, they probably didn't sell that well. We want to try someone else. Because I don't think Curse of Darkness did very good critically.
Which one is Curse of Darkness?
It's the
second
second
one.
PS2 one. It's a sequel to Castlevania 3.
Okay.
And Lament of Innocence was the first one, which is the prequel to everything,
Whoa.
which is a
Used
better
to be,
game.
I guess.
Yeah, sorry.
Used to be, yeah.
Yeah, Lords of Shadow is now the prequel to everything,
Right.
isn't it?
No, it
No,
it sort of is, but it's like it's a reboot.
Reboot. Well, so anyway, the reboot failed. Igarashi said, "Look, I can do this on my own." A guy high in a company, just like Brandon says, going off on his own, said, "Okay, look, I can do this. Like, let me do this." And so we think that's what's happening. We think this is a Mighty Number 9 situation. What happened this week was a teaser site went up. In which Igarashi himself, I mean, it looks like him, it's an incredible likeness, asks you to pick between a sword and a whip. And then if you pick the sword, you're suddenly Team Sword. If you pick the whip, you're Team Whip. And then if you keep clicking it, you become part of clans, and he'll like say more interesting things to you. This is a teaser site, and most likely we'll find out on Monday what's going on.
I bet there are going to be two different characters you can play as. One
That's a good
uses sword,
theory.
One uses a whip.
Yeah, one who's like Alucard, and
Yeah,
like one.
exactly.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Yeah, what was interesting was he was supposed to do this reveal like after PAX in last September.
Where do you get this inside info? What is this?
I mean, this is just off of NeoGAF, but because there were threads talking about this when this was getting teased,
Sure.
Friday or over the weekend or whatever. But yeah, so I mean, they had started teasing this at PAX or something, I think.
Oh, so sure. There was a Mighty Number 9 panel, and you got a fake magazine advertising. And actually, so in like a tiny square, it teased this game in particular.
Yeah, and then there was some stuff that sounded like it wasn't going to happen or whatever, and now it's back.
Yeah. And I assume, much like Ukulele, I think the hunger is strong,
Oh, yes.
as
It's
Brad
very-
says. And I think, like,
strong.
I bet when this launches, I bet it's going to be another 40 minutes. You know, I bet it's
Yeah,
just
it's
going
gonna
to
be
be
very fast.
funded
10
like that.
seconds.
Yeah. Ian's in.
Sniped.
So, Ian, what would you want out of a new 2D Castlevania game?
I want it to be Symphony of the Night, a little faster,
Okay.
with a big twist, and 7 times as big.
I think you have to now.
Whoa.
Like, if you released a game at the length of Symphony of the Night or Super Metroid, like, people would scoff at it. It's like, oh, it's only 4 hours. It's weird because like those games are so tightly designed
Yeah.
and so well made.
Mysteries.
But nowadays, it's like people want something that's at least 6 or 7 hours.
That's true. I think Shovel Knight is a perfect length.
It depends on the price of the game also.
Sure. I'm
People will
assuming
be-
it's going to be like
yeah.
a Shovel Knight.
If it's
You
like
know what-
$20, people will be
You know what he
stoked.
should
Yeah.
do is there should be a core experience that's like Symphony of the Night, where it's a very tightly made, very thought out thing, and then you have like your painted world sort of thing that's like from Dark Souls. It's like a side interstitial like story.
Portrait of Ruin, he did that sort of.
Yeah, but it's a subscription model. You pay $5 a month, and you get one a month forever.
Why are you doing that? Why would no?
Because it would be awesome.
No, it wouldn't.
It would go on forever. New levels forever.
I don't
That
want
would be amazing. Also, Team Sword.
So you're on Team Sword. Let's see.
Team Sword for days.
Brad, which team are you on?
I picked Sword. It's like picking kids for me though.
Okay.
It's really hard.
Blood, which team were you on? Team Sword or Team Whip?
I'd be curious if they'd go back to the Castlevania 4 whip mechanic, but maybe, yeah.
Sounds like your Team Whip. Brandon, which are you on?
Team Whip.
I'm on Team Whip as well. I think because we use swords in so many other games,
Sure.
that like whips are what make Castlevania unique.
I like finding all the new different swords in Symphony of the Night.
Sure.
Like, I always really enjoy that aspect of it. If it was somewhere in between like a Bloodborne where each weapon is more interesting but you find fewer, that'd be cool too. But I never liked that you just had one whip that upgrades. That mechanic is less interesting to me.
So you want like cool alternate whips even?
Yeah, if it's whip, I'd want to find a new whip.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to upgrade my whip.
Imagine having a laser whip.
They had different whips in
That'd
Lament
break
of
the
Innocence.
Yeah, well, they've
They did?
had different whips. They've had like the chain whips and the fire whips and those kinds of
I'd
things.
love a fire whip.
That are separate whips?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Um,
I avoided all the whip ones. Also, I never had
even
a
in
DS.
the first one, you get like the longer one, right?
That's true.
Oh, I guess so. It's like a temp upgrade, right?
Yeah.
It's not a temp. It's like until you die.
Right. And then you have
Yeah,
to get it
so
again
that's
and things
not
like that.
permanent.
Well, I mean, it sort of makes sense though, because like you lose it and then you have to get your power up again.
Yeah, I guess
wa-
if I got good, it would be permanent.
I want a whip that's got a big skull at the tip of it, and I just drag the skull along. and then like when I whip, it like bites my opponents.
What?
Drag it like the big sword and the big knife in Silent Hill 2, where it's like too heavy to carry, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah, but it's because it's got to have a metal skull in it.
And it talks like the hand in Vampire Hunter D.
You know what? We're making better time than I thought we did. I want to have a little brief discussion with this panel about, hey, like let's say a Kickstarter comes up. Do you feel comfortable giving a Kickstarter money as someone in games media?
Yes.
Sure.
As long as you if people
Disclose
ask you
it?
to disclose it, yeah. What's the problem with that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I kind of don't all that much, or at least if I do, then I don't want to be the one covering it.
Right.
Sure, yeah.
So,
I mean, I went to the store and bought Bloodborne. How's it different?
I think because when you're kickstarting it, you're giving it money before it's out. You feel a part of it. I think that's what Kickstarter is about, is like feeling like attached to this. Like I made this happen.
You're just a fool with hope in your heart.
right.
Yeah, I know. But I think that funding a game is different from buying a game. I think there is a distinction there, and I wonder if that's like a big deal to you. Is that a big deal to you, Brandon?
Not really. Maybe it should.
I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, it's just like one of those like kind of things. It's, you know, it could go either way. I mean, I don't have a, you know, like I'm not gonna wag my finger at somebody who's like, oh, you kickstarted that, you shouldn't review it, you know. But at the same time, it's kind of like if you invested $200 or whatever and you want to see it do well. But I don't know. It's weird because like I think it kind of actually works against it in a way. Because if you did put $200 down on that game, and it's not terrible, but it's not great, then you might be kind of having a grudge. It's like, I paid all this money and they didn't pull their weight.
It could work both ways.
Yeah.
I bet there are a lot of people who put a lot of money in Mighty Number 9 and are like, what is this game coming? What is this?
No, I mean, it was supposed to come out in April, and then it's like, oh, it's September now.
Yeah.
I think too, because even if you donate to a Kickstarter, I still have no creative control over this game.
Yeah.
So if I'm reviewing it
Right.
creatively, it's like I'm
Whereas
criticizing this because I was in no position to change it. Whereas if you do something like Star Citizen,
Or Project Cars.
which actually has a development phase where you can get involved and maybe pay to do that, to be a part of development and to get in the forums and really talk about like
Design
here's
the
what you
whips.
need to do to change things. Then I wouldn't cross that line.
I mean, it's all personal integrity, you know? Like, if you've got the integrity to pay for a thing, and then if it comes out and sucks, to say that it sucks, then it doesn't make a difference. If
Sure.
you're the kind of person who's like, no, I paid for this, I'm gonna defend it because I'm a fool otherwise, and then you shouldn't be doing this anyway.
Yeah, I
No,
think that's a
it's
good
true,
point.
but unfortunately, I kind of hear those stories once in a while about other writers that are like will be vindictive.
Then
for
stop
things-
reading those
yeah.
writers
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
Blood, are you willing to get specific about which writers?
No, because it was hearsay, anyways, and,
Okay.
and they actually weren't specific about which writers.
You know I gotta ask though. All right, so let's talk about. So a lot of fiscal year announcements came out this week. EA did theirs, Activision Blizzard did theirs, Nintendo. I think Sony was last. Like as everyone's talking about how much money they made last year. An interesting part about EA's earnings report with its call to investors is that they laid out all of the games that are coming out over the next year. I'm going to read through them just for everybody. Between April and June of this year, 2015, no EA games, not one. From July to September, here's where we get it interesting. You got your FIFA, you got Madden NFL 16, you got NHL 16, and Rory McIlroy PGA Tour, the first, coming out.
So
Tiger's out.
You said that was the interesting part.
Oh, blood.
Whoa,
Ouch.
burn.
Dark blood.
Those are all yearly games. They're yearly sports games.
Okay, well, actually, so the one interesting one is Rory McIlroy. They've taken a year off of golf, and this will be his first game.
Didn't they have one that was just PGA? Well, it didn't have Tiger's name on it, but it was just PGA
I'm
golf.
pretty sure. Yeah.
No, I looked it up, actually. Tiger's been on the title for years. They never took him off the title. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but
they do-
I think in the past though they had like before Tiger.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah.
That came out a really dumb teaser. Rory McIlroy, did you see the teaser?
Yeah.
It's just him hitting a ball. I'm like, no, I can't do
Get
that.
hyped. It's gameplay.
Character model.
Yeah,
logo. Just
What do you
like,
want?
that's
It's
not
a
a video
golf game.
game? Like, what? talk about some
That's
new
like all
modes or
sports
sell
games.
something.
It's about as exciting as golf can get. It's like,
Other
oh,
than,
it's a
like,
new dude wearing
hot off
That's
the
true.
hot off the
khakis
press
and a
character
polo.
model.
It
Mario
is funny.
Golf's really good.
Well, because I mean, it does look good for his credit. But what's funny is they're like announcing it as like, and there's going to be something fresh and new about this game. Like, show that in your teaser.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So let's talk about October to December 2015 prime time. Here's what's coming up: NBA Live 16, an untitled Need for Speed game, and of course, Star Wars Battlefront.
Woo!
Never doubted it.
So they got one game coming out this year.
Well, no. Oh, yeah. We might maybe. Yeah, I guess that's it. No. So actually, yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? It's one game, one non-sports game. Unless you count Need for Speed.
one game.
Need for Speed kind of counts as a non-sports game.
No.
It's sporty.
It's sporty.
I would
But
count it not as a sports game.
yeah,
It's a
like,
racing game.
Wasn't it the last one where
But
like
it won't be good.
Christina Hendricks
Right.
was there and she was like teaching you like how to race cars
I don't know. Blood.
on the run? Need for Speed,
it's
like.
tie into the
wasn't
movie
that wasn't the
or
run.
something?
The last one was Rivals.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Dumb Game Monday. You should play that one. Need for Speed. Was that the one where you like get out of the car and like beat up police officers? Wasn't that a Need for
There's
Speed?
quick time events, yeah.
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 There's Dumb Game Monday. You should
And
do that
Christina
one.
Hendricks. It was actually a suggestion. Someone was like, you should play that game. And then so from January to March of 2016, Mirror's Edge is happening, and also a new Plants vs. Zombies game versus Zombies games for console and PC.
Mirror's Edge will be cool. So they got 2 this year.
Well, that's next
No,
year.
Mirror's
That's
Edge next year.
2016.
Oh, so that's next year? Oh.
So yeah, my first question is, any of those excite you? Clearly, Ian's excited about Mirror's Edge.
Mirror's Edge will be cool.
Yeah.
They got a good aesthetic and a cool gameplay mechanic.
What concerns me about Mirror's Edge is all of those games I just listed are huge. EA only deals in huge games these days, it seems. I don't think Mirror's Edge is a huge game.
They're going to find a way to make it huge.
That's
and
what
ruin
concerns
it.
me. Yeah, so that's very much what I'm concerned about. Are you all concerned about that too?
Now I am.
I'm sorry.
The weird thing to me with Mirror's Edge was the trajectory of its development, because there was like a trailer or whatever first where I feel like we saw a decent amount of the direction of the game, the look, the feel. I don't know if it was actual gameplay. I don't think it was. But then at E3 months later, it was like they'd taken like 8 months of a back step where they're like, yeah, we're conceptualizing, we've got pre-visualizations, you know. It didn't make any sense. I was like, okay, clearly they scrapped something and went back to the drawing board, like literally.
Right.
Very weird.
We saw a work in progress
Yeah.
at last year's E3 from Mirror's Edge, and it is coming out next year. It's happening early next year. Brandon, you seem okay about this.
I didn't play Mirror's Edge, so I do not have any emotional investment, nor could I gauge how they could mess up a sequel.
Well, I mean, let's be EA right now. How do you? So Mirror's Edge is basically a first-person platforming game. Isn't too long. I mean, I think it might be in that 6 to 8 hours range.
Yeah, and in a way, the story. I mean, the story itself is not that great, and in a way, that story mode feels sort of like a training mode, because that game, like the feel of it, kind of comes alive, sort of after that. Like once you go in and you try to speed run and go through those levels, and the times that they want, and the stuff that you have to do to make those times happen, it's like, oh, this is actually really cool now.
Yeah, and they actually had DLC for it where it was basically just the polygons. It was like Mario Sunshine level, like bonus levels, where it's just like these are just floating out here. This is just for the challenge,
Like
you know,
VR
story
training
over.
type thing, yeah.
Yeah,
I just this is stupid, but Mirror's Edge 1 is like a college significant other. Not that interesting, but really good looking and fun with speed running.
You wanted people to
I'm
do
sorry.
jokes.
Right. I asked for
You
this.
asked for it. You
I
wanted
asked
it.
for this. I asked for this.
How did Dying Light sell?
I think it sold really well, actually.
Because that seems like a similar game. You know, that seems like that was a big game, and you know, it's like if you make a big fun environment. And how linear was Mirror's Edge? Because I haven't played it.
It was a level by
Extremely.
level.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
extremely
Linear,
linear.
Yeah, they could change that.
I mean,
up.
there are alternate paths
cool.
that you could take, and that's what I mean is like finding those routes is a big part of, you know, how different that game can feel when you replay levels. But it was still, yeah, a level by level thing.
Yeah, I guess my hope for Mirror's Edge, honestly, is that they go low budget with it. I think Mirror's Edge will be freer if it costs less money.
I agree.
Like once they make it cost more money, that's when it like they'll. The last one had 2D cutscenes, like flash animated cutscenes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The more money you put in this game, the less acceptable that is. The more microtransactions we'll need, the more season passes we'll need, and so I'm hoping that this is a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5.
It'd be really cool. I mean, this is just pie in the sky, but it'd be kind of cool if the whole game was real time and it didn't have cutscenes. Like it's just 8 hours in her life, constant going.
Yeah.
That'd be neat. Like she's on the run or something, no stopping.
No
That'd be
stopping. That'd be a good appeal too. That's a good twist. Well done, Ian.
You can't pause the game. You just go.
No pausing. Blood
Oh,
Bowl.
You
no
have
pausing.
to play
Yeah,
it
no
in
pausing.
8 hours. It's
Yeah.
like Desert Bus or whatever.
Yeah, that's a
God,
game.
Penn and
yeah.
Teller.
Yeah. Desert Bus. We're driving to Vegas. Okay, cool. I mean, yeah. I guess Plants vs. Zombies wasn't announced before, but is that surprising? You know what I mean? Like, is that really something to be like, oh, cool, a new sequel to that?
What's interesting is after Plants vs. Zombies 1, we didn't get any news, really. Any substantial news out of
Garden
that
Warfare,
franchise.
we should say. Plants vs. Zombies, Garden
Until
Warfare.
Plants vs. Zombies 2 and then Garden Warfare. So it's
Yeah.
interesting now, after 2 and Garden Warfare came out, that they seem to be really pushing. So I guess they're still making a lot. There's enough games out there now, I guess. Across all of them, they're making enough.
Do you think it'll be Garden Warfare or a sequel to Garden Warfare? Or do you think it'll be like something like Garden Warfare nobody saw coming? That was insane when that was announced. Do you think it'll be another just like you didn't see this coming? It's like it's Minecraft but with Plants vs. Zombies.
Yeah,
you know
it
what
might
I
be
mean?
something weird
Yeah,
like that.
that'd be cool.
Hopefully it's not like a mobile social game or something. Or
I mean, it's,
they had a
it will
Facebook
be.
game for a while. That
it
was
says console
fun,
and
but-
PC. They announced it for console and PC. So
Are we not talking about Battlefront? Are we really just going to roll right over
rolling
Battlefront?
right through it? Let's talk about it. What do you?
Jeez.
Okay, boy.
Brandon's seen this game.
So that is their big fall game for sure.
I
Right.
think it's the biggest thing that EA has to prove this year, without a doubt. I mean, it is. You look at all of those other games, and those. I mean, Need for Speed's always an opportunity. You never know, like what Need for Speed's going to be more exciting or better or sell more than any other one. But those are all franchises that come with a lot of expectations, and I don't think any of them hold a caliber to how good that game could be. Battlefront could be really, really, really good. Like you can say all of their trailers, like is all the developers realizing, like, oh crap, we're making this game that everyone's totally expecting to be.
So you
be better.
used 3 reallys, but like compare it to something. How good could this game be?
Did you play Battlefront 2? Like, have you played the Battlefront games before?
Yeah.
It was just something about. I can't think of any other. Like, Here's the Storm is fun because we're playing with all these characters. I can't think of anything else that has that kind of franchise backing, that has like a licensed name. You know, it's like they all are just terrible. Like the Lord of the Rings has tried all sorts of things. The MOBAs, like whatever. The RTS like didn't really do. You know, they only made a couple of them, and so it's just like those all usually fizzle. And Battlefront 1 and 2 are the best-selling Star Wars games ever. They beat everything. And
Oh, they
so it
did a
was-
Lord of the Rings Battlefront as well, didn't they?
Yes.
They think they did.
Oh,
It was
they
bad.
did. Oh my god.
You
they
just don't
did.
count on those games being
Yeah.
good, and it just like it so many exciting new things came to 2, from 1 to 2, and it was just like so surprising to see them not go on to make 3.
Well, I think DICE being a part of it
Yeah.
put a lot of faith. Like for me, it
Yeah.
made me really excited for this game. I think it's like the perfect developer for this game.
And again, and so everybody's like, yeah, well, the Battlefield has had problems. Like, but this isn't Battlefield. It's a completely different franchise. And so I could see, them being like, well, we're making another Battlefield, and then just kind of misstepping because they don't know how the tech is going to play out, or maybe they just have franchise fatigue. But when you get this fresh new start and this new IP, with all of the excitement, with Infinity now, with all the, Star Wars Celebration and all the trailers coming out for Episode 7, and just like all of this, momentum building up to this game coming out.
Yeah,
and then they're kicking it off. The game comes out before Episode 7 comes out, so
It's really funny too. Like I don't think it's just a Battlefront or a Battlefield skin, but like it could be, and I'd still be kind of like, yeah, all right. It's funny how much a coat of paint or a skin can make things more interesting. Because like I don't like GTA, but I love Red Dead Redemption, and they're basically the same.
they took a game called Dark Souls 2 and put a gothic coat of paint on it, and
Yeah.
I've been lapping
And
it
now
up
it's
ever
amazing.
since.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
coat of paint's, I think, really key.
No, that's a fair point. If this game is pretty good, it'll be
And
excellent.
there's no way any of us are going to know until it is in our hands. There's
Yeah.
nothing that they can show me up until that,
Like a couple of days after
Until-
too. Like
yeah,
after
right.
we've all had a chance to like fight each other a bunch, and we're like, yeah, this game rules.
Yeah, it is. It might rule. That is worth being excited about. I'm going to introduce a new segment, something else to be excited about. It's called Quick Impressions, Please. This is,
Well done. Well
what?
done.
Thank you. This is basically news stories that normally on a slow week we would totally cover big time, but it's clearly like we're packed today. All I want is one sentence. I want your quick impressions, please, on these news stories.
God, where was this episodes 1 through 50
Okay.
of GT
Oh
Tech?
my God. So For the first time ever, Sega will not have a booth at E3. In their press release, they said they're focusing on restructuring and the relocation of U.S. team. Basically, they just said it's not a good time to have a booth at E3. Brandon, quick impressions, please.
Very sad. E3 is everything.
Daniel Bloodworth.
Yeah, I totally understand there's nobody to put the booth together. No, like the contacts I have are not going to be with the company anymore. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It might just be a bad year. That might be bad. Brad, quick impressions, please.
Not surprising.
That's it? That's your
it.
sentence is
I'm
2
not
words?
surprised at
Okay. Here's our next headline. Sony will not have a press conference at Gamescom 2015. Xbox will. Brandon Jones.
Ooh.
Double-edged sword. I think it could go either way. It's sad because they are not going to be there, but it also could be really good for them because they don't think they need to be.
Sure. Oh, I should mention that Sony said we will be at Paris Games Week a few weeks later. Their reasoning was that E3 and Gamescom have become too close together. E3's later this year, Gamescom earlier.
Wait, but they're going to be at Gamescom.
Right. No press conference.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's make that clear.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
Sony is gigantic at Gamescom.
So what's your quick impression, Blood?
I think it's weird. I mean, it almost tells me that they don't have as much to announce. I mean, usually they use Gamescom to announce a bunch of smaller titles that they don't talk about as much. Like, what was it? Man, there was one last year that was really cool that was kind of reminded me of Eco or whatever. But anyways, but yeah, so they usually have...
PT was last year.
Yeah, PT was last year.
Rip.
They showed Resistance 3 one year. They had like a PS3 Slim or something. Like, they've done a lot of stuff at Gamescom.
Yeah.
So I think they're looking at their schedule and they're kind of like, well, let's just announce everything at E3 and move on.
Yeah. And also Paris Games Week, which I have to be honest, was not on my radar until this moment.
But are they going to announce stuff at Paris Games Week? Or
Apparently, yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Or are they just going to be there?
They said we're gonna do a press conference or press meeting, whatever the words they use, at Paris Games Week.
Huh. Yeah, that is weird.
That's very weird. Brad, sorry.
It's a bummer to me, but if they're going to Paris, I understand. And they're probably trying to move closer to whatever PSX is going to be this year if they do it.
Yeah.
That's why.
Okay.
PSX is why. That's why they'll do it. Because they're probably not going to do much at TGS either.
I kind of like PSX.
I kind of
PSX
love
is
PSX.
great.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was so much fun.
Here we go. This one just hot off the printer. Nintendo partners with Universal Parks and Resorts to create world's first ever theme park attractions based on Nintendo's beloved games and characters. Brandon, quick impressions.
Love it. Great for them not to do this themselves. It's like,
Sure.
if it was going to happen, it would be like, oh, did you hear there's a Nintendo theme park? It's like, oh, and it's like, oh, it's just outside of Osaka. You're like, oh, and it's just
And
some
it's out of
tiny,
business.
right? It's just some tiny thing in some park somewhere, and it's a couple statues and like a shop.
Didn't they have like a temporary Poke Park or something, Kyle?
Yes, they did. I think it might still be in service.
And
If that Poke Park is still around, please send us pictures of you there.
And like there is no rhyme or reason to Universal Parks at all. There's literally like a Popeye the Sailor Man like boat next to like the Hulk roller coaster. You're
Doc
just like,
Brown is
whatever.
wandering around. Yeah, you're right.
Go for it, dude.
Yeah.
Like right next to Jurassic Park, and then
being
like
chased by
Hogwarts is in the
Spider-Man.
distance.
Yeah,
It's like-
Men in Black are over
It's
here.
what
You're right.
it's kind of what I want Lego Dimensions to be, where you're just like, how on earth does so yeah, I think Universal's a perfect company to do it. And man, they got some good rides. The Spider-Man ride in Florida is like 12 years old, and it's still
Super
one of the
good.
best rides I've ever
Super
been on
good.
ever.
I know this is quick impressions, but is that a sit-down ride and you watch the screen?
It is Star Tours and the Indiana Jones ride put together.
What makes it good,
It's
though?
a movement. Yeah, it's movement.
You
but
have
a
3D. You have 3D glasses, and then at various points in the ride, it steers you to look at a screen, and then it's like building, and then seat G, and then building. So you can like see, if you've been on the ride before, you can see that layer exactly. And the Harry Potter one and the Transformers one are like okay, but the Spider-Man one's amazing because it's
still
just
good. It holds up.
it's a little slower. It's more practical. Like it doesn't try to like throw you all over the place. It's really just like, hey, there's Doc Ock. Isn't that cool? Okay, move on.
And you
Whereas
can
like the
follow the
Transformers one,
story.
like you never stop moving, and it's just like okay, I'm a little ill
Man,
right now.
Universal Studios Florida far and away better than Universal Studios here.
Yep.
Like even the rides
'Cause they
that
have
are
two
at
parks.
both. Well,
Yeah.
right. Islands of Adventure is phenomenal, but like even the rides that are at both, like the Mummy out here, sucks.
Yeah.
And it's awesome out
And
there.
it's sadly one of the best things at Universal
Right,
Studios
yeah.
in Hollywood.
Here, yeah.
So Infinity theme parks. What else we got for this GT time? This is good. I like it.
Getting you riled up. Blood, what are your quick impressions of this? Nintendo rides.
Yeah, I think it's good. I hope that they have, like a space, like a space where they can have like a lot of different things, because then they can have, just like this simpler rides as well, like stuff that doesn't have to be a big deal. Like they could have a Yoshi merry-go-round. And I was thinking, it's like, it'd be cool if they had like a mechanic where like as Yoshi's going up and down on the pole, that like his tongue is going in and out at the same time. It's like
They have those in Mario Sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
A Yoshi
Delfino.
merry-go-round.
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh, don't get me too excited. Brad, quick impressions.
I hope
please.
everything is not a Star Tours clone. Like sitting in the seats, pretty much. I want actual like rides moving around. I want like separate areas also.
Do you think it'll
Like
just be
Hyrule.
for little kids?
No.
Yeah, that
for
was
everybody.
that was my one. I was going to insert one final comment, and that's I hope it's not like a restaurant and a couple kiddie rides, and then
Yeah.
like a show. It's like have one
Oh.
awesome
Oh,
ride.
but think of the spot pass opportunity.
Okay, so it's
Mario
Street
Kart.
Pass.
No, Mario Kart
Spot Pass is the
ride where you actually get on
location-based
go-karts
version,
that
isn't
are all
it?
the different Mario Kart things. Done.
Oh
They have to
my
do that.
god.
Do y'all remember that? Yeah, they do.
With
Absolutely.
a course?
So you actually had like shells that you could throw out and stuff.
Dude,
and
and
everything.
like all the walls have projection so that you can change the course. It's
Yeah.
a different course every time you ride it.
It's Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you go to North Fair and you get to be Samus and you kind of like just explore and you like collect things and like you'd use them to unlock other doors.
That seems more Zelda-like to me.
Okay, and yeah, it's like a Zelda house. You go in a Zelda house and you
Or temple,
my
yeah.
God.
I can't tell you what happened to my imagination when Reggie was like, "Imagine Nintendo Land." I was like, like I said, literally, like the gates opened up, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can do it!" Yeah, seriously, there's like a rocket you get into, it takes you up into space of Metroid, and the Mushroom Kingdom's in the middle, and the Hyrule's over there, and it was like, "Oh no, that's not what I pictured."
Right.
What are you
right.
doing right now?
It took
Dude.
2 seconds and it's like, oh, there's
Mini
things in
game
here?
doors? Not,
Yeah.
no, what I was
Dude,
picturing.
though, like Halloween haunted house, somebody's got to do like a Metroidvania style haunted house.
Luigi's Mansion,
Mansion.
baby.
Luigi's
Yeah, where your
Mansion.
party has to like unlock. It's like escape the room, but a whole house.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think what
This is a bad thing to pick for this.
Yeah,
This
Super
was
Nintendo.
not,
These are
this was
quick.
not quick
what I was
impressions.
thinking though is that like it would be so much better if there was like a lot of cool stuff at the Florida one, because like I think here, like what you're saying with all the Star Tours, these things, I think it's because they don't have space.
Yeah,
The California one has no space.
Florida's getting this stuff before
Florida's
us.
getting
There's
the
no
good stuff.
question.
Yep.
Yeah, this dog is very upset we've gone on for this long.
I love that dog. Well, moving on to, well, you're the one who started this conversation. That one was aggressive.
Very aggressive.
He hit his fist
Wow.
together. I don't know
liked
about
it.
that one.
I liked it.
Of course you liked it.
You're behind a plate glass window. Of course
Yeah,
you
I'm
like that.
protected in my little box in my ice fishing house.
I'm
You know what
standing
it
right
was?
next to this guy.
It was a tweet I got for somebody with like a bender icon, and he's just like, the screaming, not funny, not cool. You're an adult. Act like it. So like,
With his Bender avatar?
yeah, with his bender avatar. So it's just like, buddy, dude, I'm gonna scream all day.
I don't think funny, cool, or adult are words I would use to describe any of us. Here
Yeah,
at Game Trailers.
Right.
none of those things are my targets. Absolutely right. So
I can't decide which one I'm the least of.
Me neither.
Cool or adult. That's tough.
I got a couple of tweets this week, actually. You're the one who started the conversation. There's a couple of tweets from Jungo Metis and Machine and Soul. Both of them wanted us to talk about PT getting delisted from the PlayStation Store. Not only is it delisted, but you cannot re-download it. I was not aware of that.
Yeah, that's
I'm
sad.
hosed. I'm hosed out of PT.
It's not that big, is it? Why'd you delete it? Is
I
it big?
actually had to reformat my PS4 at one point.
Whoa.
Yeah,
I actually
Whoa.
saw it on my little list last night. And was
Yeah,
like,
that-
because I wasn't sure. I'm like, I think it's still on there, but I
Yeah.
don't know.
That could totally happen though. Like he was saying, you could have to do that for one reason or another.
reformat your PS4.
Yeah.
And then you cannot have it. This is very funny. So Game Informer talked to Konami, and Konami's response was this. We already announced previously that the distribution method of the PT demo was going to expire on April 29th. The reasons were that PT was a playable teaser for a project that was discussed with Guillermo del Toro and Norman Reedus. That specific project has now been canceled. Konami will, however, continue to develop Silent Hill branded titles. God.
Has anybody talked to Reedus about this?
Yeah. He actually was one of the ones who kind of like gained momentum on people actually asking Konami if it's canceled or not.
I love how they
He's
don't
bummed.
even mention Kojima.
Yeah,
He's like they are afraid to say his name. What's happening?
This project was discussed with Guillermo del Toro and Norman Reedus, and that's
Not
it.
Kojima.
They're so petty and weird.
They're
What
petty
the
and weird.
hell?
It's getting delisted not for rights. I mean, because PlayStation Network isn't giving it to us anymore. Like, it got taken off. You cannot re-download it because they didn't want us to.
I actually wonder if there is some kind of rights thing. Like, I wonder if, like, whatever this fallout that happened was, like, really does have to do with Kojima does not want them to use his name
I don't
to
think
promote things.
So I don't think it is that because Marvel vs. Capcom 2, right? Or even 3, rights are lost. However, you can still download it if you've already downloaded it.
Right.
So they can't sell it to you anymore, but they can still give it to you because that's
But you paid for it. That's the weird thing with
Maybe
PT.
it's the paying, yeah.
Like, you don't have to honor the customers because they didn't give you any money. You release this thing for free as a promotional material.
Oh my god.
So yeah, so legally, business-wise, it's totally up to them. They made the product, they released it, they can do whatever they want to with
Somebody's
it. So
burning
like that's not
somebody.
the
Yeah.
issue. It's
Yeah.
just like there are so many people in this world that are working on video games right now that are like, I hope to God that at least like 100 people just play it and enjoy it, and I can have a community and just talk to other people about my craft and like just get my name out there and just slowly work up the ladder. And PT was one of the video games of 2014. And it was free, and it was an advertisement. Look at how they're playing it down. They're like, this was just this was just a playable thing. Like,
Yeah.
you weren't supposed to get excited about this.
It's not like
you
this
know?
was one of the most revolutionary and incredible gaming moments of all time.
So it's
Yeah.
just like that is just what I don't want to talk about PT anymore.
Okay.
PT time. It's so depressing.
All right.
Because to have something like that happen and then to walk away from it.
Funny,
it's like,
funny story though, real quick. I'm hosed because I love PT and I beat it several times at the office, and my roommate had it on his PlayStation 4. I didn't want to let it into my home
Yeah.
because it was so scary.
And now
I
you'll
never
never have
put it
it.
on my PS4. Never gonna happen now.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
Feels
Big
weird.
mistake. I
It
was
feels
ruled
cool
by
though.
fear.
It's really going to elevate it to legacy status. That like it's only going to reduce the number of people who own PT. That's crazy.
and all they're doing
one
is
will
building.
believe
All
us.
they're doing is building. Because you missed one last little part. Didn't they say they're like? Did you mention that one? They're like, we're still working on Silent Hill stuff.
yeah.
Branded titles.
It's like, oh, that's a good idea because nobody's going to compare Silent Hills against that or
Yeah.
anything. Like,
Yeah, we're gonna make another crappy downpour, and then you're gonna love it.
they're like.
With a Western
It's
studio.
like, why are you comparing PT to our latest Silent Hill game that we just released? Nobody has that anymore. It's like, what are you talking? I got it on my. Oh, you still have that on your PS4? Like, yes, I still have it.
Yeah.
It's one of my
Or
favorite
they'll
games on
like
the system.
they'll like refuse to acknowledge that PT ever existed, like they're doing to Kojima.
Yeah.
They'll just be like,
They're going to erase
"This
it.
is the first time we've heard of it," you know.
Real quick, I do
The
before we
main character's
conclude that
name is
conversation.
Lisa. You're like, oh, screw you, Konami.
Yeah, they are gonna. You play as Lisa in this game. Do you think this has like? Are you scared about the future? Are you scared of when today's games are retro games that like they just won't work? We won't be able to download them. We won't be able to play
Yeah,
them.
I mean, all that stuff that happened with GameSpy last year. I mean, I had friends, that they, continued playing, I think, Battlefield 2, like up until that happened.
What is having friends like? Sorry.
It's
But,
very
uh,
stressful. It's very
I'm gonna
stressful.
move
But,
today,
like,
I guess.
He's
that was-
Brandon, comedian.
That was basically, like my one friend that I'm talking about, like that was basically the game he played, and like he was in there, he was like a administrator on their server or whatever, and once that happened, his friend just shut down the server because whatever other games he was running like weren't as popular enough to like justify the cost of running that server, and that was it. And I haven't kept up with with that to see if like they've started making Battlefield available to play again, but I think it just at that point it lost steam for a lot of people.
I mean, Star Wars Battlefront. This game, Brandon's so excited today. 20 years from now, we can't play that game.
You know what's going to be crazy is when the 6th HD re-release of a game is too old to play.
Yeah,
Because they're just going to keep remaking everything and re-releasing everything.
right. Pirates are the answer. Pirates are the way that we're going to go.
Oh, there's that thing Internet Archive is doing. Have you seen that?
I've checked it out. Yeah.
It's still buggy depending on the game, but they've got a ton of these old PC games, DOS games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That just like
So good.
play in the browser. Like you can
Commander
even play
key.
it in a tweet.
They're doing good work.
It's like
It's
what
nuts.
the heck?
Yeah. All right.
Man, the other answer too, though, just real quick, I was really bummed about Myst Online. I got really into Myst Online, and when that went away, because GameTap or whoever like stopped supporting it, there's like a weird hackneyed like jumbled together version that you can kind of download and get working on your own, but it's like backdoor open source, but it doesn't work very well. And
Yeah,
it's
we
not
need
on
those
Mac,
pirates.
which is a bummer.
We need those pirates. Time for bets, everybody. Here we go. Here's this week's bet. Project Cars is finally coming. It's already out on PC, already out in many other countries other than the US. Comes out in the US on Tuesday. We're having a question about a trophy percentage. Haven't done a trophy percentage in a while. Here's our trophy that we're looking at for PS4. Keep calm and race on. Crashed on or before the first corner, then went on to win the race. How many people
Did you
Started
just
English,
try
ended
to do
British.
Yeah. Did you just try to do an accent right there?
Yeah, win the race.
But you're only British on the very last word.
Because I realized keep calm and race on is keep calm and carry on. Like I should have started with British, and then I didn't. I'm not fast. I'm not fast. I'm not cool.
You're not adult.
I'm not
You'll
mature.
never win
You're not
the
funny.
rice.
I'm not
Cool,
funny,
adult, or funny.
or fast. What am I? So anyway, what?
Awkward.
Thank you. Sure, I'll take awkward. What is the trophy percentage of that going to be? Brandon, you're first to reveal
I
this
think
week.
we're all going to have the same trophy percentage, right? Is 0.1?
Wait, why?
No one's going to get that.
I think that is so easy.
That's yeah.
What is a crash? A crash into another car? A crash into a fence? A crash,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't see that.
Okay.
I don't see that happening.
I think that 41% of the people playing
All
this
right.
game are going to get that trophy.
Oh,
Brad.
me?
By
I
next
said
week?
65.
Got to reveal it to that camera, Brad.
65%.
Whoa.
I went 31%.
Okay, that's a good range. I'm going to lock those in. So, Brandon, you do at least have the low vote locked down.
Right.
Okay, that's a
31's the lowest. Okay.
That's some really good one stuff. So if it's like
12.
yeah, if it is 12, Brandon wins. Yeah. Okay. Wait, did you just? You can't bet, Ian. You're the judge.
I'm just guessing.
Okay.
It's a guess. 12.
Let's talk about last week's bet. We're talking about Wolfenstein: The Old Blood, which released this week. How long will the end credits be? I'm gonna go through everybody's bets. Blood kicked us off with 6 minutes. Brennan Jones, very confidently, I should add, bet 5 minutes and 40 seconds. I bet 4 minutes and 28 seconds. And last week, look at Brad smiling already. He feels really good about this. Matt Blair bet 7 minutes and 31 seconds. I do not know the number. Only Brennan Jones does right now. He's about to reveal it.
I think Matt Blair looked it up though.
No.
No?
6 on the nose.
6 on the nose.
I even tried. Okay, so when I saw it, I was like, God, it's 6, and then I was like, wait a minute. I remember bringing up last week that it was text to text. I mean, because they might have like a cinema or something, and that doesn't necessarily mean credits. Like we're talking words. And so I was like, okay, I might still have this, and that got it down to 5:53. Was the smallest I could get that running time. So if you want to be super anal about it and say like when the fade to the red background or the fade out isn't actually in the credits, it is just the words "Old Blood" to that last line going off the screen. That's 5:53.
Okay, we'll count 5:53.
The bastard
then.
still wins it.
It'll make me feel a little better. That, of course, does mean that Blood wins with this bet of 6 minutes. That
I'm
means
destroying.
I'm back
Yeah.
up there.
he's back up there.
And it's gonna be 17%. And I'm like, oh god.
The Super Seat and Blood now are tied with 7 points. Jones trapped at 2 and myself trapped at 3. Blood, you have won the right to close out the show and promote a video. However, I do have to give credit to @Mokiki, who is Oliver Brandt, who made these cool neon GT Time logos. That is very fancy. Look at like this is basically a crowdsourced show now.
I think cool doesn't do it justice.
What do you want it?
I would say they are vibrant and beautiful.
Whoa. Wow.
I mean, also we should point out, you pointed this out before the show, but like he tried to match the bricks in the background. It's
Which
kind of crazy.
that background wishes it was bricks.
Yeah.
yeah.
That is very, very classy. Classy backdrop. Thank you so much for that. So, Blood, yes, you now own the microphone.
Yeah, it's a little tricky because I've been out all week, so I.
You don't even know what's on our website?
I mean, I know it's on our website, but like I haven't actually worked on anything myself. Brandon's.
Tell me
thing-
about it.
Brandon's thing last night was was good.
What was Brandon's thing last night?
That thing
Wait,
I did.
His mom came on GT Live, but
but that's not what you want to
that's-
promote.
no.
Okay.
Well, I guess we can say that for now, but I'll just say please be excited. If everything works out, Tuesday we'll have exciting thing for you on the site.
That's cool. A mystery plug.
Yeah,
And I think people know what you're talking about.
probably.
Yeah, but it's like we can't really say what we're talking about.
If
I like that. That's a good
if
plug.
I can actually get it done in that time frame.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
I believe.
yeah, my Twitter is @dbloodworth2. Brad.
I'm at Bradley Ellis 87.
GameTrailers VO.
At Kyle Bassman.
So yeah, leave us your comments, your corrections,
Eddie.
and Ian's over there. Multiple people interrupting. I don't hear Ian's noise when he goes on mic anymore.
Yeah, you've been
I'm
really
doing
good
it
about
quick.
that today. Yeah, I like
Doing
that.
it real quick.
But I
quick.
mean, it's not even that. Like I don't hear
quick.
it at all. So that's
I
cool.
can't hear out there.
God.
Modified Seabiscuit quote there.
Freaking love it. You know what? I think, you know how Brandon stole Up and Out from Shane? I think we all need our own thing. We all need our own.
I said it once. Was that stealing?
That's stealing. You can't,
That's
like.
a reference.
I guess it's a reference, but
When I
like.
quote movies, I'm not stealing it from the movie.
Your sign off is like yours. You own your sign off, and so for you to take that, I should have said
I
it
was
at the
referencing
moment.
something.
Like, you can't do that. You gotta. So we all need our own like cool sign offs.
Okay.
Like tomorrow is forever all ours.
Nailed it.
So were you established that Kyle is not cool earlier?
Well, give us some time. If it's that important, give us a week before
I
the
should
next
have-
DT
I
time, and
should
we'll
have
figure
thought
out our
of that sooner.
sign-offs.
But Blood, you need to do a cool sign off.
Hi.
Hi is your
Hi
sign off.
to the wrong camera.
Hi.
That's his stuff. Hello.
Just do the classic Wayne's World.
So you guys have the advantage because I don't have a monitor on that side, so I don't
Oh,
know
right.
what
Oh,
camera we're on.
that's true. That's true. I'm sorry about that.
But yeah, no. Leave us comments. Tell us what we got wrong, etc., etc. We'll look forward to talking to you next week.
I love.